Hello there. It's kind of a lousy day out. I got some open time. I don't really care to go out and work in the rain, so I figured I'd go ahead and sit down and put one of these videos again on the wiring diagrams together again for you. The last one I did was on a PC50 Komatsu excavator. It was a pretty simple system, pretty easy to work through, so if you haven't seen it, you might want to go back and review it. This one's a little more complicated. This is a Komatsu PC200-3 and a PC220-3. They're both basically the same machine, except the 220's got a little more horsepower, a little more weight, and usually a longer undercarriage. Uh, if you look at this particular drawing, we'll start up here in the left. Here's our electrical circuit diagram. It says what it is, and it says what serial numbers it covers. Now, in the middle here, it's got an explanation a little bit for this thing, and it's got this little gray area right here, which I take to denote these parts down here. And if you read up here, it said these parts are installed only on machines equipped with auto deceleration system, swing mechanical brake, and three-stage mode selector, OLSS. Now, what that means is they put these machines together in different ways. Some of them were just simple. They had two modes you could run the performance on the machine in. It's either high or low, which in this case meant either S or L. Or this three-stage system had three modes you could run it in, and that was H, S, and L. And the H put it in a mode that allowed for the computer to control the output of the pump to maximize the efficiency between the engine and pump and what you want to do. Uh, Up here, and some of these I've never seen before, but we'll talk about it. This wiring is for machines equipped with two-stage mode selector, OLSS, and TVC solenoid valve. I hadn't seen a two-stage mode selector with a TVC solenoid valve. I don't know where that came from. So here, the next explanation again is on the black, and that probably covers these better. It says depending on the combination of two-stage or three-stage mode selector switch, auto deceleration installed or not installed, and swing mechanical brake installed or not installed, the following connections may be fitted with blind plugs: CN8, 9, 10, 18, 19, 24, 31, 32, and 33. Now, what that tells me is that mostly these harnesses are probably the same or very nearly the same, and what they did was is they left the harness connectors in there, but they just capped them off if they didn't have these other systems in it. Now, the other thing we got to be careful about on this is that, especially these serial number ranges, is that they have different diagrams depending on the serial number range. Now, even though they've mentioned this stuff here, it may or may not be there. Uh, what they're saying is somebody has drawn a different one as time gone on. Time has gone on, and it may be a little bit different to what you see. This one shows the diagrams for the barrel switches down below. Go to the next one, it still shows them down below. We'll page up again. Now they don't have them down below, they have them up above. And we'll come down again, and we have another range. So we're now stating these are on two-stage mode selectors. So this is what you're going to have if you got a two-stage in this serial number range. And then if you got a three-stage that's in this serial number range, you'll have this one. And then it goes up one more and drops back. And then if you're in this serial number range with a three-stage, then then this diagram will fit that range of machines. Now, they may be all the same, I don't know, but it's best to always troubleshoot from the serial number range of the machine you have. We'll go talk about this a little bit. If we come back down to our original, this one's kind of simple for me to read. Anyway, when I was reading all this stuff, or when I go out to work on one of these things, and like I said in the earlier video, I like to look at the wiring schematics and stuff before I go look. And in this case, I know I'll have batteries, so I look up here and I see the batteries and I can tell what kind of system it is. So this battery has a plus here, a minus here, plus here, and a minus here. It doesn't even show the pluses and minus. And it goes over to a battery relay. But I see two batteries that are in series. So this is 12 volt and this is 12 volt, 110 amps for each one of them. That tells me that's a series system, and this system is a 24 volt system. Now we could probably read it better on a different one. And that doesn't show it. But this shows it. So there's a plus, a minus, a plus, and a minus. So we know this is 24 volts. Now, this goes over to a battery relay. It doesn't really explain what it is, but I can tell you what it is. It's a disconnect switch. And one of these wires is hot. It goes to the key. When I turn the key on, it makes current go through this coil, which energizes it and sets a couple points together, which grounds this battery setup and turns the electrical system on the machine on. You can see the ground here. Some of these are grounded on the outside. Well, most of them are grounded on the outside. If we follow, there's a big line like the last time. It's got a number, so 60, and then B. That 60 usually relates to the size of the wire when you're dealing with Komatsu, and B means the insulation is colored white. If you look on the bottom of here, it says 05 and it says W. That would mean that's a 5 size wire, and W would mean white. This heavy wire comes over to a starter solenoid, and you got some stuff here that goes to this. This is a safety relay, but they don't say it in here. So you just have to know what it is or recognize it when you see it on the machine. It's an alternator. Here we got a heater relay. That's going over to an electrical grid heater. That's inside the intake manifold. This one shows a compressor. I suppose that would be for air conditioning, because I've never seen an air compressor on a Komatsu excavator. We come down here. Here's our gauge sensors, wipers. This one may have a lower and an upper wiper, or it may have a rear wiper and a front wiper. I don't know. We come over this way. It's the wiper washer. And here's a diode, this representation. What this does is it allows current to go through one way but not the other. And there's not a lot of them, but you'll generally see these on motors or switches, because anything with a coil, if you collapse the coil, it's just like a coil on a car. You'll get a spike in voltage, like a lightning strike, and that lightning strike can run all around the machine. We have that because we have a computerized controller, integrated circuit boards that work everything, or that work the HS and L circuit. They're logic boards, and those spikes in electricity can make some funny things happen to them. We'll keep following this over here. Horn relay, there's your diode, the monitor buzzer, that's just a mechanical buzzer. Your fuse panel, 6 fuses in it. And if you notice, you have fuses here on a board, on a line. These all three of these get power, and then these two are separate. We have a controller down here. I assume that's the controller for the HS&L, but it might be a swing brake controller. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't see a controller. We have our diagrams for our switches. And then we have, here we got an auto decel, which this machine would have, other machines may not. Here's your starting switch, that's your key switch right there. Come over here, we have a monitor panel, and then these use liquid crystal displays on it, up on the panel itself up here. It shows all the wiring, and you could trace all this wiring back to where it goes. Plus you have some switches down below, and it says that they're switches. As we went through last time, let's keep going up here. PPC hydraulic pressure switch is equipped. PPC in this case means pilot pressure control. So there's a hydraulic pilot system on this machine that your joysticks and your travel pedals hook onto hydraulic control valves, small ones, and then those goes over and make your bigger valves work. Some of these machines were manual with mechanical linkage that made them work. Now we talked about these connections for these CN switches, the CN harness connectors, and they're numbered. And in this case, there's a reason they're numbered. So you look here, CN24, CM19, CN10, CN15, CN20, CN22. Like I said, those are harness connectors. And they're numbered for a reason, and the reason is to make all this a lot simpler to try and troubleshoot. If we go up above here a few pages, what you'll see in the service manual is we have a ghost view of the machine, and what it is basically a map, and it tells you where all those connectors are. So if you're looking for, say, there's CN1, 2, and 3, CN22, CN36, CN11, those all correspond to those numbers that you see on the wiring diagram. So now you can come in and it tells you to go check this harness or do that harness or whatever you need to get in there. Now you can find out where it's at without having to take all the sheet metal off the machine. And then here we actually have a ghost view which shows some other possible connections in here. And again, that's all just depending on the configuration of the machine you're working on. So that gives you a quick look and things to look out for, kind of how to read them. There's no good way to follow all those lines around to figure out where they go and what's going on. But in my general experience, I haven't had a lot of problems with these connectors. These aren't sealed real well, so they will get verdigris in them. They can go bad, especially on these older machines. They can rot off. The insulation will get damaged. They can short. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward system, and it wasn't very difficult to have to work on and figure out all the problems. So if you run into something like this, well, it can give you a good start from what we've done here. The other side is now you can recognize something, and when you sit down to look at a wiring diagram, you kind of have an idea of what to look for to familiarize yourself with on the machine as you get into it. Anyway, I hope that helps. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back in touch again on the next one. Bye.